welcome back to the Holiday Project 12 Stories, One Album. I am on layout number 10, no, layout number 9. There's 4 more layouts left in this series, and I am on the downhill slope of finishing this album, and I want to go ahead and get this done. I'm a little behind in my deadline. I thought that I was going to finish this at the end of December, but you know, things happen, and it's perfectly okay to continue on with your holiday albums well into the new year. No penalty, no harm, no foul, right? We're just getting these memories documented. So if you're unfamiliar with the Holiday Project, it is a class that I started in November 2016 that focuses on 12 stories in one album, and they can be stories from your past, present, or things that you're about to experience here in the future that are related to the holidays. And I decided to create a theme album where I talk about my childhood memories. So for this layout, I'm going to talk about how I very much enjoyed looking at Christmas lights as a kiddo. And at the time my mother and I lived in Oklahoma City to be exact. And we would go to this neighborhood called Ski Island. And at that time, they would put on some of the most beautiful Christmas lights displays, and we would go and look at the lights. So I'm going to title this Wonderland of Lights. So this is just a stock photo of just some Christmas lights just to represent the story. I don't have an actual photo of us actually going to Ski Island. So let me share the story with you. I printed my journaling on vellum, which I'm going to cut out and add to the layout. So it says, I love looking at Christmas lights. As a kid, Mom and I would head over to a neighborhood called Ski Island in the suburbs of Oklahoma City to look at holiday lights and decorations. The residents put on the most spectacular light displays. The houses surrounded Ski Island Lake where the residents docked their boats. Even the boats were decorated. I remember thinking that one day when I became a homeowner, I would decorate my house just like the people at Ski Island. And that hasn't come to pass just yet. I mean, I do put up my decorations, but we live in an apartment and soon we'll be in a house. So I do hope that I'll be able to decorate our house just as festively as the folks who lived in Ski Island. So I'm going to go ahead and speed up the video and get started on this layout. All right, so I'm working with just a bunch of scraps from all my holiday papers from various collections, and I decided I want to do sort of this layered cluster there at the top of this page. I'm going to fiddle around with these papers a bit. Now, that photo is really, really bright in terms of the colors. They're really bold, and so I wanted to mute the pattern paper that's going to be behind the photo. So I decided I'm going to position that strip, the first strip, sort of to the top, but then I'm going to move it way to the top, to the very top of the page here in just a second. And then I have all the rest of these little layers here, the black and white stripe and the hearts, and I mean not the hearts, but the blue and white star paper, as well as some red pattern paper that's from an American Craft 6x6 paper pad. And then a couple of these papers are from the Snow and Cocoa collection. That blue paper is from a Christmas kit from 2015. And now I'm trying to decide where I want some of my elements as well as the title. The word Wonderland is from the Snow and Cocoa collection, I believe, and then I pulled some stickers from my stash to finish out the title. So the title is going to read Wonderland of Lights. So now I've committed to these layers, and in a second I'm going to add some vellum to these layers because I want to mute the colors just a tiny bit. There's going to be a lot of busyness on this page, but I'm okay with that. Now I'm going to pop up the photo using some foam strips, get that adhered, and now that I think about it, I probably should have mounted the photo on a piece of white paper, but I'm not going to change that. I'm just going to stay where it's at. So we go ahead and adhere that the little chipboard piece, and that has a ton of glitter on it, and the glitter does flake off pretty bad. So you'll see me dusting off glitter. See, I'm doing that right now. I'm tapping my paper and dust off that glitter, which is a lost cause, but that's right. Now I'm going to add these little sticker letters to spell out the word of, and then some thickers that spell the word lights. And I fooled around with this layout a little bit before I 100% committed to it. By the way, I've had a couple people ask me if I'm done with my holiday scrapbooking. I'm actually done. These videos were filmed a couple of weeks ago, and I need to get them up on the YouTube channel, so I'll finish that out this week, and then I will resume to normal scrapbooking next week after I get the Layering Like a Boss number 2 class off the ground on Tuesday. If you haven't checked that out, make sure you do. There's a promo video about the Layering Like a Boss 2 class on my YouTube channel, so make sure you guys check that out. Okay, so now I am playing around with some of the other elements, and I want to put that snowflake somewhere, but I decide kind of leave it be. Then I see this little deer. Now, this story has nothing to do with deers, but that's okay. So I want to mount the deer on that snowflake, and again, it's going to be mounted on its bottom, but that's okay. It is what it is, right? It's all holiday and winter themed, so why the heck not? So I want to mount that little deer up with some foam strips as well, and I think it's just really adorable. So he's going to have a snowflake right behind him. There we go. Looks good. And I'm starting to notice that the photo is being a bit covered up by all these elements, but that's okay. As long as I see some of the lights, I understand the theme of the layout, I'm good with that. No one's going to look at it and go, oh my God, what did you do? No one's going to do that. Okay, so now I put that label that says fa la 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 good cheer, and then I want to add some washi tape to the bottom because I felt like I needed a bit of an anchor at the bottom. So I grabbed some red and white washi tape, which I love, and I am going to position that so that it's somewhat diagonal at the bottom of the page. I'm going to go ahead and wrap that tape around the bottom of the textured cardstock. I'm going to trim that up here on the side. Perfect. Now, I'm trying to decide what I want to do at the bottom. So I dig through my stash, I find the word wish. I want to add a little bit of black at the bottom because there's black at the top. Then I saw the word Wonderland, but there's no reason to repeat the word Wonderland since I already have it at the top, so I'm going to stick with wish. And then as I'm adhering that down, I'm thinking I need something else to go behind it. So I think I now have a reason to use that little snowflake that I was trying to use earlier. So I pull up the word wish, and I mount that on that snowflake just to add a bit more layering. And sometimes when you're working on a layout and you're trying to figure out how to make something work, give it a mount, give it an anchor, layer it on something. Okay, so then I find this little mistletoe, and I'm trying to decide where I want to put it. It didn't make sense to put mistletoe on the snowflake. Like, mistletoes don't go on snowflakes, right? I guess I probably could have put that on. I mean, it is my layout, right? Who cares? But anyway, I abandoned that idea. So I move on to my journaling, and I typed up the journaling, and it basically reads everything that I told you at the beginning of the video about my experience at Ski Island in Oklahoma. I'm going to run that through my Xyron. By the way, I met somebody the other day, maybe it's a couple weeks ago, who'd never heard of a Xyron machine before. I was buying the adhesive, and she just happened to ask me, what's that used for? I always look at this thing when I'm in Michael's. I was actually shopping at Michael's, and I'm like, oh my God, you haven't heard of a Xyron machine? So I gave her an education on Xyron machine, and she bought the small one and the big one. I hope I didn't get her in trouble with her spouse. But anywho, I'm an enabler. Okay, so I got the journaling down using my Xyron, add some adhesive to that. Now I decided I needed something at the top, so I punch out a tab using my handy dandy tab punch. I'm just using some extra scraps that I stamped on from another layout to make that tab. Then I added a little label that says I heart this, and that's from Bella Boulevard. Their little bits collection. Love that. I have those stickers in like pink and blue and black and whatnot. I want to add a little bit of foam behind that tab so that it sits up nicely with those layers there at the top. That looks good. All right, so now am I done? I am done. So here is the finished layout. I'm loving this. And that little glittery gold Wonderland just looks perfect on there. All right, stay tuned. I'm finishing out this series and moving on to something that's non-Christmas here pretty soon. Thanks for sticking with me. See you next time. Check out these videos and don't forget to subscribe.